And we are live.
There we
David,
go.
how's it going, my friend?
Oh, Doug, it's going well, man. We were back on it. We did late in the week last week. Now we're back on normal schedule. Hopefully, it's never normal, but we try and keep to the schedule that we laid out.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get back on track. I'm confident. I've been doing some solo lives after these summer league games.
Don't think I wasn't a little hurt for a few seconds, but then I was like, I didn't watch that game, so
honestly, I thought I was doing you a little bit of a favor, just giving you you a break and giving you delicious nuggets. You can join me anytime. It's an open invitation.
Trust me. Well, I was on the road for most of that game. Got back in time to see the end, so I wouldn't have much to say. I'd love to hear about it, though. I could either go back and listen, or you could give me your thoughts, today.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about James Borrego signing an extension. Malik Monk had some comments that were interesting. I think we can talk about LaMelo Ball is doing interesting things in Charlotte. You went to the Basketball Hall of Fame. So much to get to. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into it. This is not a Serious Hornets podcast. We are live on YouTube. We have a podcast feed as well. You can search on YouTube for This Is Not a Serious Hornets podcast. I'm Doug Branson. I'm joined by David Walker. We've got a little bit of a new look. We're trying to spruce the place up, getting serious now because the Hornets are getting serious. We've got summer league action. We've got basketball to talk about, so we're making some improvements. If you want to support the show, you can do so on Patreon, patreon.com/HornetsPod. David, it's been a busy couple of weeks in Hornets land. I will give it to you. Well, let me say this first.
Sure.
To the audience, definitely chat with us. We want your questions, your comments on Summer League, on Borrego's contract extension, on anything else you want us to talk about related to Hornets, television, movies, music, everything that we try to get to on this show. Let us know in the chat on YouTube if you're watching live. Okay, now, David, that I've got that out of the way, what would you like to talk? This is really a show, since I've been on the past couple of days, this show's really about you today. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, definitely want to hit on Summer League. I did catch some of both games.
I watched it.
I'm loving the look of LaMelo sitting courtside, the cutaways to LeVar, JB.
Let me get a pic of LaMelo. I said last night LaMelo reminded me of Goldmember. I love gold.
Because of his sunglasses, his shades.
Well, the shades had gold, and then he was rocking some serious chainage. Let's see if I can get this.
Chainage,
bro.
Did you happen to see the plane that Puma hooked LaMelo up with? And I'm assuming his friends and family as well. Oh yeah. Now he's worn that.
I know
he has worn that on the sidelines. That medallion, I believe that is the LaMelo logo, if you will. So I don't know. I think if you look close at his shoes, he also did bust out his first signature shoe at Summer League. So I don't know if you noticed that, because it's once again, it's all one color. It's this fire red.
I want to see if I can pull up a picture of it.
I can find that and send it to you. But I mean, at first glance, it looks like most of the stuff he wore last year, because Puma just did all these mono colors. But it is his signature shoe.
There it is.
There it is. You can see it.
Let's get a close up. What does it say? Yeah. Not from here. These are the alien. This is the alien where I was confused about the number of fingers because it was cropped weird in Twitter.
Exactly. So those are they.
Okay. Okay. Those are they. What kind of analysis is that, David, as our resident shoe expert? You have to give me more than those are they. What are they? Are they good or are they not good?
They need some more color. They got to mix it up. They can't come back with. You can't tell what you're looking at. That's my biggest complaint here with Puma. Now,
what would you call this? What would you call this color? Because it's different shades.
Infrared.
Okay, it's different shades of infrared.
Yeah, infrared. You can see some of the stuff going on in the back there. Different materials, different patterns, but it all comes down to how they color block this thing for me. If it's just going to be a bunch of shoes like this that all look the same color, then you can't tell what it is. That's my biggest complaint. But
I like a couple of things about this picture.
you see the wing, you see on the tongue there. It looks like that logo is kind of on the tongue underneath the laces there. Maybe.
Yeah, well, the black stripe
Oh,
goes
it goes
over
across it. Yeah,
the black stripe
okay.
goes
There we
across the laces, and then
There we go.
the logo is under the laces. But that's not what I'm noticing about this picture. I'm noticing that he's repping NBA socks, which reminds me of when, what was the name of the actor that wore the NFL hat to the NFL game?
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe, thank you.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe wearing the NFL hat. He's wearing the NBA socks. Also, he's got some smooth legs. I don't know if this is a grooming thing or if he's just, some people have hairier legs than others, but it's a well-groomed leg. That's what I notice about this picture.
I always thought Rob Lowe caught a little too much flack for that hat. I mean, listen,
It's a bold. You're in the minority, I think.
I know, but I've got a hat with the NBA logo on it, and I've got some compliments on it. I'm just a fan of the league in general.
Hold on.
I'll find
Stop
it for
the show
for next week. Yeah.
Stop the show. I need to stop the show sound effect. I don't really have one.
Screeching tires.
No, here
Perhaps.
it is.
A record scratch.
That's the best I got right now.
Okay, we'll work on that.
I'm gonna get a stop the show sound effect. But I want to hear the compliment that you got on your NBA hat.
I mean,
what was the exact compliment?
Oh, I like that hat. Where did you get it? So he doubled down on it, and this was in Foot Locker as an employee.
Where did you get it? That's the question.
You don't see it everywhere. You don't see it everywhere.
I think the answer's pretty evident. Where did you get that hat emblazoned with the NBA logo?
It's a very simple hat. It's a 5950. It's a new era. It's all black, and it's just got the NBA logo right there. I'll bring it out next week.
Please don't.
But yeah, so I was on Rob Lowe's side on that. I mean, listen, he's a fan of the sport. I don't know. He's from where is Rob from? From LA? Yeah, he's from LA. So he's got to be a fan of, well, who knows what team is out there. Anyway,
probably the Rams. Okay, so back to loving LaMelo on the sideline for Summer League. What did you love about that other than the Pumas? Just his investment in the team. I mean, is it one more sign?
Up. He's masked up, following protocol there. Went to the sunglasses for the second game. I don't think he had the sunglasses on the first game. But sitting with Miles, so keep that connection going off court in the off season. JB was to his right, I believe, in the first game. So I loved it. Just great representation. I will say this. If LaMelo had played in Summer League last year, based on what we've seen from the crowd reactions or what I saw to LiAngelo, I mean, I don't think they would have been able to sell enough tickets. Like, honestly, like LiAngelo was if there was a couple of times when he had an opportunity to hit a three and the roof sounded like it was going to blow off of that stadium, especially or the arena in that first game. I mean, they're going crazy. They love him out there.
It's such a great point that we really missed an opportunity to see. Like, LaMelo is never playing in a summer league. He's just not going to do it. And I saw some footage of Kobe Bryant playing in the summer league.
I saw that too.
And it
like
was
36 or so.
Right. And he was just amazing. And it really gives you a glimpse at, like, there are certain players that you're going to know immediately. I think that was the read on Cade Cunningham's performance. It's like he is just miles ahead of where everybody else is in the summer league and has no problem adjusting to the speed of the game. And you knew that from the moment that you saw Kobe play. You're like, oh, damn, like this kid's got something extra. And you would have seen the same thing from LaMelo. We would have gotten a glimpse early. We had to wait until the actual regular season started to get that glimpse. But the hype is real, and the hype is real around LiAngelo ball.
Yes.
Have you gotten to see any highlights, David?
Yeah, no, I saw a couple of his good stretches in those games. Making some hustle plays, taking some corner threes, making a lot of the right plays, it seems like. Pretty exciting for him. I mean, to hear his experience in the past or his playing time in the past on various summer leagues or, in college or whatever, is pretty spotty. I mean, I don't think anybody had super high hopes for him making a dent. But I mean, and it's just summer league, right? But like he's worked out with the team. All indications are he's played well in whatever scrimmages they've had, whatever all season workouts. Like he's kind of fit in. So I mean, it wouldn't shock me at this point to see him certainly in Greensboro. I mean, if you're making an impression in summer league, that's half the battle, right? So just securing your place there. I mean, we don't need to think about roster spot in Charlotte or anything yet, but
you would probably be in the minority there, because I think a lot of fans that are watching this right now are saying, how do we make room for LiAngelo?
That's the summer. You have to have the summer league filter on, though. I mean, that's the most difficult thing for me. Like to your point, you can see it when it pops, when it jumps off the screen in a Kobe or in a LeBron or in a Dwayne Wade, or we did miss out on LaMelo, but it's more difficult when it's somebody's not jumping off the screen. He's making a lot of the right plays, but I'm going to withhold judgment for now.
He's doing good things. Tyler here on the chat saying, thoughts on the Jello hype as potential best shooter on the Hornets. Come on, man. Dude just doesn't have the physical ability for NBA roster minutes. And that's what I talked about yesterday. There were two, I think, sort of defining plays for Jello in this summer league so far. One was when he got his own miss from three. Yeah. It was short, and he had this incredible floater. He understands the game. The game is not too fast for him. He understands what he's doing. He's knocking down shots. And then there was another play where Kulboka hit him on a back cut, and he got bodied by a slightly bigger defender. And when I say slightly, I mean a much bigger defender. And so that's where sort of the road ends for Jello right now.
Yeah, if he's the best shooter on this roster, then the Hornets are in deep, deep trouble. He can, look, that was the right play that encapsulated everything. To your point, it was perfect because it was a god-awful miss. It was nowhere near going in, but he knew that, right? And he had the right feel to go and charge and get the rebound. So, look, I think it's a nice story, and I think it's fun, and I think Jello shots in Vegas is a real thing. I was that Stephanie Reddy on the call?
Reddy was ready with it on the Jello shot. Jello shot.
Great stuff.
So I want to debut something on the show. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm confident we will do it. I'm not as confident that it will work, but we're gonna put it out there. We're gonna see what happens with it. I'm calling it right now the Great GIF Wall, and it's whenever we want to associate a word with a player or something that's going on, we'll hit the GIF machine. We'll drop the GIF in the show. So let's pull up the Great GIF Wall. And right now I've got LiAngelo's name. David, I'll leave it to you. What word would you like me to put into the GIF machine and spit something out? What word has defined LiAngelo so far?
Oh, I was just going to throw in Jello shots and see if anything popped up, but
Jello shot. You got it. We're putting Jello shot in the GIF machine, and this is what we've come up with. So there you go. Right now, this is...
I think that's pretty accurate, to be honest.
This is the full LiAngelo experience right now in Summer League. All right, so we'll come back to the GIF wall. I like it. That's good. We'll see what the machine has for us later. So on Summer League, any more Summer League thoughts?
You tell me, because you've certainly watched, you've probably watched more in depth than I have to this point, but they had 27,000 turnovers in game 2. So, I mean, that's what Summer League is like. I mean, it's gross. It's ugly at times. Bouknight had a rough night last night. So it's hard to get a good read on stuff. But what have you thought about LiAngelo? I mean, you're not thinking Charlotte, right? You can't be there yet.
No, I think he could be a great asset in Greensboro. Hardworking player, could work himself into a two-way contract, maybe this year, maybe next year, with Charlotte or with another team. I think he's legitimized himself, in a way that he didn't in Detroit, so that's good. Overall thoughts on Summer League is that it's Summer League right now, and the kids look all right. We're getting great moments. Kai, this Summer League has reinforced what I thought about Bouknight and Kai and JT Thor, which I didn't get a chance to really talk about JT Thor last night on the stream. But JT Thor has some sort of raw, length, ability, feel for the game, who's making some good passes. Kai Jones is making some great passes. Like that was sort of unexpected. He's become like a weird, great interior passer in summer league. But you're seeing the flaws. You're seeing where Bouknight really needs help. He's not a player that can really just like take over the offense. That's not where he is right now in his sort of career development. Could it happen at some point? Maybe. But he needs LaMelo. He needs people who can accurately pass the ball. That's not been DJ Carton or Grant Riller so far. This summer league team has a point guard problem.
Yeah.
They could really use LaMelo out there. Like if it were possible I wonder if LaMelo's, I'm sure he's not because he's focused on the NBA season, but maybe I wonder if there's just a tiny part of him that sees Bouknight out there struggling to get his own offense and thinking, maybe I should just suit up. Is it possible? Can I go throw a jersey on real quick?
But he can get his own shot. I mean, you have seen that flashes. Now, Davion Mitchell gave him fits last night, and so he had a tough go of it there. But you are seeing his ability to, like, when he just puts his head down and wants to get to the basket, he is able to get there and make some kind of tough shots and finish inside. So I thought that was encouraging. And yeah, all that stuff is hopefully going to come once he's surrounded by a better level of talent, and he's maybe able to get freed up too, right?
Well,
if he can get a step or two, right?
That's it. He needs less attention. I mean, I think that's what I'm seeing right now. He needs less attention. Everything can be focused on him right now because the summer league team is not stocked with talent. It's all young kids. It's all G League prospects right now. So so I think that's the extent right now. We've got 3 more summer league games to go. Those are really the extent of my thoughts. I think, Dutch Gailey, the head coach of the summer league team, did a good job in game 2 of finding Kulboka some shots. They were running some sets early for Kulboka to get him some good looks, and Kulboka took advantage. He's impressed me a lot. I think he's justified the Hornets' decision to give him the 2-way contract. I'm excited to see what JT Thor can continue to offer the team. But I think Dutch has to figure some stuff out in terms of how do we make it a little bit easier on Bouknight, and Bouknight has to push the pace and not dribble himself into so many defensive traps.
Yeah, I don't know how much or how many minutes some of those other point guards have gotten. When I've tuned in, it's been pretty much Bouknight or Riller, I think, kind of handling the running of the offense. But they've got some other guys over there, so it'll be interesting to see if any of those guys get some minutes to kind of free things up for them. But you like the athleticism. The Kai Jones stuff is certainly appealing. Dunk of the summer league, I guess, so far. So, you like to see him cut down on the turnovers, obviously, but that's, these guys haven't played together that much. It's just how it's going to go. Yeah.
Okay, coming up, I want to talk about Borrego getting the contract extension. What do we think about that? Malik Monk had some interesting comments, and LaMelo Ball laying down some roots in Charlotte. First, real quick, thoughts on the Olympics now that they're over. Did you watch them? Were they interesting? You tried to. What happened?
Well, I mean, I don't understand how NBC and Peacock messed this up so badly, and the time zone thing was a huge issue. That's nothing they could do about that, I don't think. But look, Peacock was supposed to launch, or did launch last summer, with basically the Olympics as the big draw, right? Like, hey, sign up for Peacock, go here. It's a hub for your Olympic viewing. You find whatever you need here. But when I tried to go to Peacock, it was always very difficult for me to see, what was going on live, what had happened previously, what was coming up. And a lot of times I was looking for, the men's basketball team or even the women's team or whatever, but I couldn't see, or like Slovenia, and I was trying to find like a Luka game or something. It was very difficult for me to try and figure out what was going on in the Peacock app. I thought it would be one-stop shop, and it wasn't that. So they had all these different channels on. Again, nothing.
Are you saying you got Peacock blocked?
I did. I did. It was bad. It was a horrible experience. So from that standpoint, no good. No good, Doug.
I'm actually going to cut it. I'm going to cut against the grain here because I think you have the popular opinion that it was difficult to find the things that you wanted to find, and they had Peacock, they had NBC Sports Network, they obviously had NBC as a network, so they had plenty of outlets.
They had the NBC Sports app. They had like a whole other Olympic app, I think.
Yeah, and I think people compare it to their experience with, say, the NCAA tournament, which Turner does, and Turner does a great job of spreading out all of the games among the true TVs and different things. And typically people don't find it incredibly difficult. Although, look, our streaming world is becoming fractured, and so it does take a little bit of extra effort to find the things that you want to find. And that's sort of the trade-off between having some flexibility. The idea of the cord is that you do have everything at your fingertips. So when you cut the cord, you sort of have to live with the fractured media space that you have just invited yourself into. But I'm going to cut against your grain a little bit and the grain of the popular opinion and say, actually, the problem with the Olympics is that there were too many options to go and find the things that you wanted to find. I think that the Olympics have so many events that, honestly, as a viewer, I need to be told what's important. I don't trust myself with the freedom. I actually loved the Olympics when they were one network, when it was you go to one source to find the things that they wanted to show you, and there was more of a wide world of sports mentality to it, and it wasn't like, and I don't think kids or people that are younger than us are going out and watching full events. So this idea that they're trying to do full event coverage of these different sort of auxiliary events and not the main ones is just foolish to me. I think things should be consolidated, and I think this Olympics lacked star power, storytelling,
no
interesting
crowds,
characters. And I wonder how much that had to do with the virus and the stopping and starting of training, and there just wasn't a groove for us to be introduced to some of these people. And you had a lot of like old summer Olympians that we were used to, like Phelps and different things, falling off.
Yeah.
So I think all of that had to do with it.
But they could curate. I mean, that's what the primetime nightly broadcast was. They were basically curating things that had happened and they thought we'd get the most eyes. But like they had a year to work on this. More than that, I mean, they had a year delay, right, to get this thing right. And it was just, I don't know. I think you could do both. You can have the consolidated, curated broadcast at night in primetime, and then in your streaming apps, what else you have them for? That's where you put everything else. You go find everything else 24 hours a day. I can pull that up. I can go live. I can watch replays. Like the ESPN app, on a college football Saturday or something, once the game's over, you can pull up the recording, the live, like right after that. You couldn't even do that with some of the USA games, some of the basketball games. You couldn't. It was hours before those things were available. So that was just,
well, that was fine.
Really
USA,
funky.
I mean, basketball, look, they won gold, but it didn't feel like a gold. It felt like, I mean, I don't know. It just didn't feel. It didn't feel. I didn't feel the dominance. But we've been spoiled as Americans. We want to see basketball.
Well, you weren't watching the women then, I guess.
No, I did. I watched the 3-on-3. I watched the 3v3.
Now the 3-on-3 that needs to be put out there much more next time because that was fantastic.
Dolson, Stephanie, big mama buckets, man. I love some Stephanie Dolson. I got into the 3v3.
3v3 was great.
So
the men didn't qualify, I don't think, right? So it was only the women's entry for the U.S.,
which they kind of made it difficult for the men. Were actually they fielded a good team. I mean, Robbie Hummel was the biggest name from Purdue. I get that, but they actually did. They won several tournaments leading up, and then the qualification they made it really difficult for the Americans to qualify. I think the thought process being you wanted to get some other countries to have a chance at 3v3 versus the 5-on-5 where it's American dominance. But yeah, I mean, watching USA versus France, I was like, after a couple of minutes, I was like, oh, okay, USA has KD and they don't, and that's the ball game. So KD, greatest Olympic basketball player. Did he eclipse Carmelo, the other Carmelo Anthony in your mind?
Well, I mean, he's scored the most points of anyone. He's tied with LaMelo.
He drug
This team
he drugged
out
this
of the
team
depths for sure.
And, so many people want to get on KD for, forming the super team in Brooklyn and before that going to Golden State and leaving Oklahoma City. But I think here he proved like, hey, I can take a team and, it's not on the NBA level. People aren't going to give him credit for it, but I'll give him a little credit for taking this team and really moving them to a goal essentially on his own.
Yeah, I think he full on drugged them out when just nothing was working. And that's why I say, look, it was very popular to say, oh, the world's caught up. The world's caught up. I don't think that's the case just yet. Like the Olympics is a very different game, international game, which by the way, I loved the international game. I loved watching these games. No replays. A call was made. You argued for a second and you moved on. Nobody, fell out or died because somebody missed a call. The NBA could learn a lot from the way that game was broadcast, the way it was called, like everything. The flow of all that stuff was so much more enjoyable. It was like, okay, we're in the last 3 minutes, and I know it's not going to take 30 minutes. We're not going to review every time somebody touches a ball out of bounds. Oh my God.
Going back to Summer League, because Summer League's the same way. They called.
Let's go.
They called a. What do they call that violation now when you foul someone and there's nobody behind you?
Clear path.
They called clear path. Thank you. I'm looking at this GIF wall and it's really entrancing me now, causing everything else to leave my brain. But they called a clear path foul. And I'm conditioned now as an NBA fan. When there's a clear path violation call, I'm going to the pantry.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a drink, grab some chips, because we're going to be here a while, folks. I got to really take a look at this thing. And then, so I get up, I go to the pantry, and all of a sudden, it's 2 possessions later. I'm like, oh, what the hell? But they've conditioned me now to anticipate long replays, and it's sad. And I hope, it seems like the NBA is trying to fix this situation where offensive players are initiating contact, especially on jump shots, to draw fouls. They released this big Twitter thread. Now, I want to see it. NBA's got to show me that they're actually going to enforce a rule. I'm not going to believe a Twitter thread, okay? NBA, you don't have that. After being a League Pass customer for years, you have no more leeway with me. You have no more lives to live. I need to see you actually do this thing and call it the right way and say and actually do it. So I hope they could fix the replay situation too at some point.
Oh God, they just got to get rid of it at this point. There was none of this. Did you see this motion at all during the Olympics? I mean, thank God. Okay. And look, like the calling of the game is one thing, and early on the NBA players were struggling with going to the basket, not getting the calls they're used to getting in the NBA, which I'm fine with as well. But they have to clean up this review, these delays. The flow of the game is just dead. I mean, it's just the international game was a breath of fresh air, and the college game is no different. So, American basketball's got to figure this thing out. Bring in some of these international guys. Bring in the international refs. Like, bring somebody in to just do something. Yeah, enough already, guys. Please.
Let us know if you want anything in the Great GIF Wall on the chat on YouTube if you're watching live. If you're listening to the podcast, you can tweet us at LOL Hornets, and we'll throw something up in the GIF Wall on the next episode. Let's transition to Borrego. Oh, one thing on the wrist thing, because you were doing the wrist motion for we should have said to the podcast audience, you were waving your finger in the air. It's
also the daiquiris or replay.
Is it daiquiris? I didn't know that.
From Wedding Crashers. That's a gift. Daiquiris.
Okay, I'll look it up. All right. But while I do that, I wanted to say one thing because you reminded me. Have you? So you haven't really watched much Summer League at all, right?
Full games all the way through. No. So probably 70.
So the thing I'm going to reference, you're probably not going to, because it was some short cutaways, and I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, David. But I've seen several cutaways, and LaMelo is on the sideline, and he's just sort of like touching it.
Somebody else said that to me too.
He's like working his wrist, okay? He's got a hand on the wrist that he hurt, and he's just rotating it around. And I'm just going to say I'm slightly worried. I don't know if there's some kind of scale, but I'm slightly worried.
It's got to just be, force of habit at this point. That's what I'm going with, because you have every right to be scared. Someone else hit me with that, and I did not see it, and I don't want to see it, so I'm not going to watch it anymore. We got to tread lightly on that, because that is not what we need to be seeing. Yeah. It's got to be on full rest mode at this point. I would think from the last time they played basketball, like he should not be doing anything except strengthening it, whatever you do. I don't know, but that's got to be a little bit concerning.
What's going on, Svensson? First time in the chat, giving us a hats off. I'll give you one of these. One of these. Little hats off. Now it's going to be difficult to get my headphones back on, but I'll give it a shot here. Hats off from Germany all the way,
right
across the pond. Welcome in, Svensson. If you have any questions about Summer League or thoughts about all of the performances we've seen, definitely let us know in the chat. Let's talk about Borrego. He got a contract extension. It seems like they've been working on it since the end of last season, so this wasn't really something they just sort of cooked up all of a sudden. This was something in the works. David, your thoughts?
My first thought whenever I hear a contract extension is that contracts are made to be broken. And oftentimes I think of them just as obviously a vote of confidence, but I think they want to establish some sort of consistency with everything here. And that's the one thing I've noticed since this regime has come in, Mitch, down to Borrego, they all seem to be on the same page. And I think they're building towards something with LaMelo, and they just want to have, a sense that things are not going to change from year to year. And that's the
How do you spell daiquiris? Okay.
Okay.
It was not. Oh, would you like to hear my attempt at spelling daiquiris? Folks, this is why I'm a podcaster and not a genius. I tried to spell it DACCHARIES. Yeah, that was not. It was not even close. DAIQUIRI. Okay, anyway, proceed.
There we go. I got it for you. I'll send it to you. But yeah, no, I mean, certainly well-deserved. I think he's put together a team that's been building. I think most people would say, well, we need to see some wins. We need to see some playoff advancement. And certainly that'll be under the microscope coming next year. But, I'm fine with them solidifying everything across the board for LaMelo. But like I said, I mean, a season or two where you don't see much improvement, that contract extension is only worth the paper it's written on.
That's exactly the point that I was going to make. That I think if you're a fan of what Borrego has done in terms of player development and the right now, you're happy that the Hornets laid down this commitment because they see the value in what Borrego is doing right at this moment. And also, they see the value in giving LaMelo Ball, their future superstar / maybe present superstar, a chance to develop under a stable organization, a stable offense, a stable defensive scheme, a stable just philosophical idea about how to play basketball. There will be plenty of time in the future, if you do get this franchise in the direction of championship contention, to start to evaluate James Borrego on that level, because I don't take this contract extension as the organization saying, yes, James Borrego is the coach that can lead us to a championship. You're not even thinking in that realm right now. You've got many steps to make. He is the coach that they're confident can make those steps. And then at some point, you evaluate if you think he's the guy. And I'll say also that this contract represents that Borrego has the confidence of the locker room and has his messaging, whatever that messaging may be, has not worn thin within the locker room and has not worn thin with LaMelo. Because I think, when you have a superstar, if that's what LaMelo truly is, The coach is going to go the way of the superstar. That's how this NBA thing works.
And I think Borrego knows that. I mean, you see him sitting right next to him at Summer League, right? Like he knows where his bread's going to be buttered. So, yeah, I mean, I don't get too worked up about coaching announcements either way. For stuff like this, just like we said, I mean, if things go horribly wrong, they reassess. You're constantly evaluating everything about the team, right? And the head coach is no exception. But look, when he came in, it was supposed to be a dumpster fire. No Kimba. What was going to happen? He kept the ship righted.
He got the fire hose out. He said, no dumpster fire here, people. We've got city ordinances. We don't allow dumpster fires in the Queen City.
You've seen player development. That's been a big thing for the organization since he's been here. So they've been able to utilize Greensboro. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of good things, positive things going in the right direction. And what was it? Was it next year was his last year or this year?
This year would have been the final year.
So, yeah, you can't go in. I mean, you can't, I don't think going in with a lame duck coach like that is anything they wanted to build on. So,
going back out to the chat, Tyler saying, Doug, why do you have to affirm my worries about LaMelo's wrist rotating? I saw it. I mean, I can't unsee it. I saw what I saw, and I have to comment on it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not a huge deal. Maybe it's a huge deal. I don't know. I think it would be a question worthy of asking. I'll have to hit up Walker Mail and tell him to use that little sweet credential he's got and get into the Zoom and ask some questions about the status of that wrist. I think it's worth asking, especially as we head into media day and camps. I think it's going to be a concern until they say it's absolutely 100% not a concern anymore, and I stop seeing him playing with that wrist.
Yeah. Well, he's been working out too. I mean, you just hope he didn't tweak it or anything like that. But now I'm going to be watching. Now I'm going to have to watch every freaking Summer League game and zoom in on the cutaways and just hope for the best.
All right, look at this chat here. New chatter in the club. Devin, welcome into the chat, saying, I think that JB can shift towards winning. He's great with relationships and has good schemes. The only issue the fans have had is his rotations, which honestly I think has been overblown. David, do you think
I agree.
Do you think it's been overblown? Oh, Devin, you got a strong agree from David Walker.
Devin, I agree. We're on the same page, man. For a lot of those games last year, I was just saying, look, he's trying to piece something together. He's trying to figure out what's going on, especially with like the center rotation spot. It was a total disaster. He went back and forth on that a lot, and I was fine with it because honestly, he was just trying to plug someone in that was going to give him something on a certain night and maybe could keep that going forward. So yeah, I'm good with JB. I'm fine with this. I'm a huge fan of his play calling out of timeouts and outside of bounds. So I can't wait to see those.
Here's my rule of thumb on arguing about rotations with a coach. Give a coach a roster before you start bitching about a rotation. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see JB with a full complement of his tools. And then let's talk about rotations, because until I don't think you can fairly evaluate a coach on rotations until he has his full suite, and I don't think JB had that last season.
Yeah, I mean, look what they're doing, right? Look what they're trimming down some of the non-JB, non-Mitch guys,
right,
and paring down exactly what he wants to see. So
it wasn't JB's fault that Rich Cho signed these guys to like 8-year deals. Mm-hmm. That wasn't his fault. Now, I'll say this though. So I'm letting JB off the hook for previous years,
right?
But at the same time, exactly at the same time now,
yeah.
Now I'm watching.
And in theory, he should. You're right. In theory, he should.
And you get the extension.
He knows a lot of these guys.
Now the pressure's on. I think the extension is a message of like, TikTok, buddy, let's go. It's game time now. You got LaMelo. Gordon's healthy for now. We've got a full complement of young players and weapons for you. Still figuring out that big situation. We'll get back to you. Call us back.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know when you get back to Charlotte. But look at Doug.
What's
Look at New Orleans. Zion's going on his third head coach.
You cannot make me. Those
Well, you have to now. We have a first round pick.
traitorous organization.
We have a first round
broke
draft
my
pick.
heart.
We have a first round draft pick hinging on everything they do this year.
Maybe.
Right. I know.
You were concerned about that.
Well, I'm just saying, when you float out that you're getting a first round draft pick back, and then it looks like you may get a couple seconds instead, it loses a little luster. But look, Zion, this is what they've given Zion. This is what they've given Zion so far.
Hold on. Let me say one thing, and I swear. But if I let this moment pass, the analogy will be gone. It's like when you were growing up and there was like a great video game system on sale, and that's all you wanted for Christmas. And then you open a present and it's like one of those handheld football games or something. And you're like, this is not what I asked for. That's right. That's sort of a similar situation. It's like, wait a minute, first round pick? I thought I was getting a first round pick. This is not a first round pick.
It's actually two seconds. But
it technically is a game, but it's not the game that I wanted.
Yeah. My point was, I think the Hornets are trying to avoid the rotating coaches. Zion's have his third head coach in I don't know, 4 years or whatever. And now they've just swapped out Lonzo Ball for, God bless him, Devontae Graham. So I don't want to see that either. I don't want to see coaches coming in and out, going back and forth. Let's bring in an experienced coach. No, let's go back to bring in a younger coach. They found their guy to build behind. And the timeline shifted a little bit while he was there, but some of that was to his credit. They improved a little faster than I thought anybody thought they would. So we'll have JB around for a little bit more.
I'm trying to find a Borrego, something to hang on the gift wall for Borrego. But let's go back. While I do that, let's go back to the news that we got on that deal. So we lose Devontae Graham. We get back a first round pick. It's lottery protected next season, meaning if Nola's in the lottery, which is certainly a possibility, they're out west. Have they improved enough to get into the playoffs? Kind of a question mark at this point. And there are all these rules around the play-in game. So even if you're good enough to get in the playoffs, you may not necessarily make the playoffs. So, we would need Nola to be in that 6th seed or higher in order to ensure that pick transfers to the Hornets. If it doesn't, it becomes a second-round pick in 22 and 24. And we also picked up Wes Iwundu in the deal. How do you feel about Iwundu?
I don't I don't know much about Wes. I'll be honest. Getting a guy back, I was more distraught with the news of not getting that first round pick. So basically, New Orleans makes the playoffs. It's a first round pick. They do not make the playoffs. It's a couple seconds. So you're cheering for New Orleans.
I would say I feel something about Wes Iwundu. I think he's a tool. He's a piece. He's a wing that can defend. The Hornets have been.
Well, he's obviously they feel an upgrade over a Martin or two, right?
It seems like they've given up on the Martins. We had Danny on the chat yesterday completely giving up on the Martins. He wanted to eject Cody Martin too. Said send him out. But that's it. You don't feel anything about Wes Iwundu.
Well, yeah, from that standpoint, they're upgrading across the board here. So if you're getting more minutes on the wings for someone like Wes, that means you're not relying on the Martins as much anymore. And God bless them. They had some good moments and they hustled and they, made some plays. But no, that's fine. It's another asset to bring back. I think someone else pointed out to me, shout out to Chris Littman, pointed out to me, if you had told us that you're losing Devontae for nothing, or you're getting a couple draft picks back, even if they're second rounders, then you'd still consider that a win. And he's probably right. I just like the first round pick.
All right, you're gonna like this. Oh, I still have the graphics up. Apologies. I'm juggling a lot of things here. Here you go. There's your it says ejecto seat, cuz I guess that's from a I assume
Too Fast. That's from Too Fast, Too Furious, Doug. You should know that.
I don't. I'm behind. I need to
watch. Oh my gosh.
I don't feel this way. I think Cody Martin, they did eject Caleb Martin. He's gone for now. Don't know how Cody feels about that. Maybe if he stays the team, we'll find that out. But they need roster spots right now because they picked up a lot of players, and one of those players is still not another big. They've still got to figure that out, David.
Oh, man. I know. How close are we getting to Biz being back, do you think?
I don't think that's going to happen. It just
Okay.
doesn't. I mean, I see where your head's at. But this will be the last thing because we do have to get out of here. They did not get Lauri Markkanen, or at least not. I mean, he's still on the market technically. He wants out of Chicago.
Definitely.
But I don't know how the Hornets would necessarily work that. I guess a sign and trade would still be possible. Again, I'm not a cap expert, but let's just say it doesn't happen. Are you feeling any way about Lauri Markkanen not being in Charlotte?
I was intrigued by the possibility that he would be here. I just think at 7 feet, a guy that can shoot, a guy who can probably still play, needed a breath of fresh air and a new start, and would have been playing with the likes of LaMelo Ball. I was intrigued by that, and they need more shooting, right? So didn't solve all the problems, but I think his upside and what he could have given to that offense would have been a huge boom. And if you coupled him with being the Oubre addition, I think there would have been a nice offseason to kind of bolster up the roster some and improve that offense. So, we'll see. It seems like it's pretty impossible, but I don't know. I mean, if they could still figure out, I wonder how close or how interested they were in doing that. I'd love to hear someone ask them that as well, but he is still hanging out there. I mean, he definitely doesn't want to be in Chicago.
The possibility is still there. The Hornets seemingly have to do something to address the big position unless they plan to play PJ Washington a lot at the center position, which could be a possibility. We'll have to see. We'll keep monitoring it. We'll keep watching Summer League. Thanks for joining this edition of This Is Not a Serious Hornets podcast. If you haven't supported us on Patreon, please do. It's how we make all of this magic, including the great gift wall, happen. Let us know what you think on Twitter at LOL Hornets, patreon.com/HornetsPod. And tell a friend. That's the biggest thing. That's free. All you have to do is go and tell somebody about the show. That's really going to help make this whole thing happen. We're getting more and more subscribers to the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, please do so. You get notifications about when we go live. It makes it really easy to tune in as we really solidify this schedule. David Walker, thank you for joining me again. We're going to do this again
next week. Thanks for having me.
Final word. You get one single final word.
Go NBA. That's
2 words.
I know, but it's a thought. It's just a thought.
I asked you for one word.
Okay, go.
And you give me 2. You give me 2 and 1 with 3 letters. Okay, that's it. Thanks for joining us. Go Hornets. Go America. Let's swarm Charlotte.